Hello there. I wanted to share a few facts with you about mental health. Recently I was doing some research about some of the myths surrounding mental health, and an alarming statistic that I found is that 38% of the UK public currently believe that people with mental illness are more of a danger than most people suppose. Now that figure hasn't changed in 17 years, and the figures come from an NHS study into mental health attitudes, and they do this study every few years, and since 17 years ago, that figure of 38% has not changed. And it's not hard to see why it's not changed. And in fact, the last figure was from 2011. It's probably gotten an awful lot worse. And why is that? Well, you only have to open the tabloid newspapers to see why. Currently, there's been a spate of news stories about how the mentally ill are going out and killing people. Well, again, some more facts for you. Again, recently in the press there was a news story about how 100 families every year will lose someone because someone who is mentally ill will go out and kill them. Now, that is a grossly exaggerated figure. That's not based on anything. But if we are to run with those figures, 640 people were killed in the UK between 2011 and 2012. If 100 of them were by people who were mentally ill, that leaves 540 murders that weren't carried out by people who were mentally ill. So what we're supposed to do with those figures? Are we to say that people who aren't mentally ill should be locked up for the safety of everyone, because you're more likely to be killed by someone who isn't mentally ill? But to use the figures in that way, it's just rhetoric. It doesn't get us anywhere, because you have to look within the story and find out it's not because people are mentally ill that they're killing people. It's because of the failures. It's because they're not getting the help that they need. And this comes down to what is happening. You know, I found it extremely very difficult to reach out and talk about what was happening to me when I first tried to commit suicide when I was in my 20s. Because back then you didn't ask for help. But it's changed grossly. It's not just that you don't ask for help anymore, you're actually afraid of what people might think of you. Today, you know, 38% of the population think that because I'm mentally ill, that I'm a danger to them. I'm not. I'm quite lovable. I'm not a danger. But because of these constant news stories, that's what people think. It's been drummed into them. So I am asking you to sign this petition so that we can get the press to engage with news stories about hope, about talking, about getting help. Because my final fact, the year when there was 640 people killed, that same year 6,045 people killed themselves. They committed suicide because they could not reach out and ask for help, get help. And we're not creating we're not creating an environment in which people can reach out, because of this constant idea that we're dangerous. We can't do this in a positive way unless the press are helping us. So please sign this petition. We want the press to know that there are people out there who've gone through suicide attempts and they've come out on the other side, and they want to tell their story. They want to say there is hope for everyone, but you have to talk, you have to ask for help. And unless we can get that story out there, we're doomed. Suicides are going up. They are going up at an alarming rate. Unless the press help, they are going to keep going up. The readership of the tabloid press, they are the people who are the most vulnerable. They come from places where there is massive unemployment, there is very little investment in their area, and these are the people that are most at risk from suicide. Tell them, you need to start talking to them and say, get help. It's not failure to get help. It's brilliant. The most successful people in the world are the ones who know when to ask for help. It's empowering, it's enriching. It will change your lives. So please, everyone in the UK press, please start talking in a more positive way about mental health. It will save lives. Thank you very much.